Once you have input data and generated a performance score, you can choose to have the score reviewed. The data and supporting documents in ARC are reviewed by Green Business Certification, Inc. This is a required step for buildings wishing to pursue green building certifications, including LEED. When you are preparing your project's profile for a review, consider these best practices. Before submitting your project for review, consider conducting an internal quality assurance audit. This will help mitigate any issues before the project is officially submitted. Data and supporting documentation across all 5 categories should reflect the same 12-month period referred to as the reporting period. Determine which 365-day period is the best fit given the activities to collect the data may have occurred at different times of the year. Review program-specific information when submitting for a green building certification. For example, any specific LEED operations and maintenance requirements. Best practices for energy and water data and supporting documentation should include the following. Verify the inputs and documentation provided encompass the complete consecutive 12-month reporting period. Uploading monthly utility bills as you obtain them from your utility is one way to ensure consistency. Verify the energy and water categories do not contain any skipped months. Verify the usage and date range in the utility bills you provide match the usage and date range of the energy and water entries for the corresponding months. Verify the consumption amounts found in the utility bills are the same as the amounts you report in ARC. Verify all separately metered water source and uses are accounted for and don't list submeters separately if the associated water use is already captured by the main meter. This can result in duplicate counting. Verify that water and/or energy bills spanning multiple months are shared in ARC within the same time frame. For example, one bill for 3 months usage should be reported as a 3-month time span in ARC rather than divided by 3 and reported as 3 separate months. Highlight the information in the bill that is input to ARC. Now that we've covered best practices for submitting energy and water data, let's discuss best practices for waste data and its supporting documentation. Verify the hauler reports account for all landfilled and diverted waste reported in ARC. Verify the correct start and end dates are reflected in ARC. For example, a 1-day waste audit should be reported as a single day. A week-long waste audit should be reported as the entire week. Highlight the information in the report that is input to ARC. Now that we've covered best practices for submitting waste data, let's discuss best practices for transportation and human experience data and their supporting documentation. Ensure the minimum response rate for the survey is met. Verify that the conversion factor for micrograms per cubic meter is included in the documentation if TVOC measurements are measured and submitted in parts per million. Ensure that outdoor air measurements are not included in the total number of test sites, as these are not regularly occupied spaces and do not need to be measured for ARC. Highlight the information in the IAQ evaluation report that is input to ARC. Once you have prepared all the data and documentation and are ready for review, navigate to the review section of ARC. Here you can compile everything into a single submission, add any additional documents, and write any additional narratives or notes. Now that we've covered best practices for preparing to have your project reviewed, let's look more closely at how you can improve your score over time. Improving your score starts with reviewing the metrics and analytics provided in ARC. Analytics in ARC provide transparency into the specific metrics being used to generate scores in each respective category, as well as total analytics. By navigating to Analytics, you can view either overall analytics, which consists of detailed project and score information, or individual category analytics. The Total Analytics highlights key scoring metrics such as consumption for the project per square foot and per occupant. Overall carbon, as well as limited scope 1 or 2 information, is also provided. Lastly, changes to occupancy, operating hours, or gross square footage over time are also reflected. Individual category analytics take a deeper dive into score timelines and highlight any changes to the individual category score over the last 12 months. Additional category-specific metrics are shared, such as consumption on a per day, per month, or per year level. Lastly, category-specific analytics include a score slider which help you understand how to improve your score based on consumption reductions. For example, an overall consumption reduction of 5% in water may result in a new water score change from 8 to 9. Beyond analytics, maintaining ongoing benchmarking and project management best practices will help ensure high stakeholder engagement and avoid any lapse in data. To realize the full benefits of ongoing performance tracking, take a moment to update your project plan activity sheet with these best practices. Set up an annual calendar with key dates for reporting period end date, occupant survey date, and/or air quality audit date, waste audit dates. Train additional staff on the performance approach in ARC to ensure a broad knowledge base to assist with implementation or in the event of staff turnover. Based on the data and the performance score, work with stakeholders to identify areas of low performance and develop and implement strategies for improvement. This concludes Module 4, Improving and Certifying Your Building Score. In the next module, we'll take a closer look at communicating your building score.